If I can become an Olympic champion and a world champion and again maybe a Commonwealth champion, I will have achieved what I wanted to achieve.
Men's 800 meters gold medalist Nigel Amos optimistic that he can once again beat King David. And we tell you what it takes to be crowned the region's strongman. Let's kick things off with football. South Africa's under-17 football team last month finished second to champions Nigeria in the African competition in Niger. Their under-20 counterparts have, however, failed to reach similar heights, bowing out of the competition after just 2 rounds of matches. And for a team which boasts immense financial muscle in the sport continentally, Celestine Caronet now examines just where it all went wrong.
South Africa's under-20 football team will be taking an early flight home from the 2015 Africa Championships after they were knocked out of contention with a match still to be played in the group stages. A loss to Ghana and Mali in their first 2 games means they now go into the match against fellow Southern Africa side Zambia with only pride at stake.
Honestly, I wouldn't say it's a disappointment. Because the last time our under-20 team played this tournament was in 2009. So now, after 7 years, we got the opportunity to play this tournament. However, would have loved, obviously, to do well in terms of qualifying to the next stage.
The game against Zambia on Sunday is a mere formality between 2 teams who are already out of the competition. But the Amajitas say it is still very important.
We're not going to take it lightly. Zambia are our rivals. Whenever we play them, we have to take it seriously because it's like a derby game to us. So it'll be important for us to go back home with at least 3 points.
There's scouts in this tournament, there's agents, there's clubs from overseas. That's a bonus, you know. It improves and it motivates the boys. So this is the only opportunity where you can raise your hands and say, here I am, see me, give me a chance, you know.
South Africa's investment in the sport rivals that of almost all countries in the continent, but they continue to struggle to match the West and North African countries on the pitch.
We understand development, you know, we also understand the challenges and also maybe appreciate that every team wants to win. And we've seen the teams that are playing here, some teams are blessed with quality individuals that can influence a game anytime. And that's probably what we lacked as a team.
For Coach Thabo, continuity will be key if the team is to move forward, even if he doesn't remain at the helm of the Amajita for too long. In youth football, the emphasis is often about the lessons learned at every competition. Now, the South African team has learned quite some harsh lessons in this year's Continental Championship. But the players are not the only ones. Their coach, Thabo Senog, at 34 years old, is also a student of football.
It's a very, very good experience, obviously. And I believe that it's going to help me in future, you know, in terms of mileage traveled as a coach. Because, you know, when you get a lot of experience as a coach, you are able to inspire the up-and-coming generation of other coaches.
Some of what the team has learned so far will be applied in their last match as they look to leave Senegal heads held high, even as focus for the country now shifts to the upcoming 2016 Olympic qualifiers and ensuring they can keep on track their 2022 vision, which is to be among Africa's best in the next 7 years. Celestine Caronet, CCTV, in Dakar, Senegal.
Now, Argentine Hector Cooper is the new man at the helm of Egypt's troubled senior football team, the Pharaohs. Cooper's best football achievements have been with European club sides, where he has managed to reach the finals of the UEFA Champions League on 2 occasions, albeit losing both. But foreign coaches don't have such a good working record in Egypt, and fans are not convinced that this time round will be any different. Adel El Mahrouki has more.
Hector Cooper is now the new face of Egypt's campaign to seek a 3rd FIFA World Cup final berth in their history. But even before he begins work, the 60-year-old's appointment is already being questioned.
كوبر لتدريب المنتخب المصري.
I don't believe Hector Cooper was the best option for the Pharaohs. There were stronger nominees. This is not to say he has a bad CV, no. He has had good success with European Champions League sides, reaching the final of the Champions League with 2 teams. But at a country level, it's a different story. Not much experience.
Cooper.
I am proud of the new responsibility to be the new coach of Egypt's national team. I'm excited and have lots of ideas and expectations, and all my friends around the world are congratulating me for the new post.
Cooper, whose length of tenure remains unknown, replaces Shawqi Gharib, who left last year the team that failed to reach yet another African Cup of Nations. But the record of foreign coaches in Egypt hasn't been very good compared to local coaches.
كنت أفضل أن يكون المدير الفني للمنتخب.
I would have preferred a local coach. They get the titles, especially in these circumstances when Egyptian football is not stable. A foreigner might not bear the pressure. Egyptian coaches have a personal motive to succeed for their country's glory. That's why they fight hard. It's not just a job with a good salary, so he can relate to the players and motivate them.
Concerning the players, I still need time to know them and analyze their performance. We are planning for a match at the end of this month, which will be part of this process.
If they got Barcelona's coach or Real Madrid's Ancelotti, they won't do anything with our players. They can get defeated by the worst team in the world. We will not qualify for the World Cup in 2018 or even in 2022. As long as this football federation keeps operating for its own financial gains, we'll keep on failing.
I don't expect anything from the new coach. He has no achievements. He has never managed a national team. His last team played 20 games, winning only 19 points. We need someone who can double our team's progress.
Since 1934, 21 foreign coaches have worked with Egypt's national team, and only one managed to win a title with the team. Egypt last competed at the World Cup in 1990, and with their last AFCON appearance being 2010. Luckily for Hector Cooper, expectations aren't high that he can bring back the Pharaohs' golden years. But what would be expected of him is to steer the team to the right track by at least qualifying for a major competition. Adel Mahroui, CCTV, Cairo.
Right now, to talk to us a bit more about Hector Cooper's appointment as head coach of the Pharaohs, here is CCTV's Adel Mahrouki, who joins us live from Cairo. Adel, the new coach's job is obviously to turn the team's poor fortunes around. Is Hector Cooper the right man for the team, especially now as they try to qualify for the next World Cup?
Well, you've seen what people think and critics have in mind, but there are those who see that he has a good CV. There are those who believe that Hector Cooper worked with several European teams and managed to let them be part of the Champions League, reaching the final at least twice. So he seems to be a man that can lift up a team level and put it into a tougher competition, and this is exactly what Egypt needs. It needs someone to make it qualify, not just to the AFCON Cup that will where the qualifications will start in June, so he doesn't have a lot of time to prepare for that, but at least for the 2018 World Cup, this is the Egyptians' big hope. Many are hopeful that he could do it, but at the same time, the lack of record and the lack of titles that he has won make people in doubt.
Now, Adel, obviously, to somebody who watches European football, Hector Cooper is no newcomer to the sport. Of course, he coached teams ranging from Valencia to Real Betis and so on and so forth. But he hasn't won a major trophy in years. From your story there, people were criticizing him. Is that criticism justified?
Well, as I said, it's not really a matter of winning a title. No one expects that the Pharaohs, when they qualify to the coming African Cup of Nations, they will win the title. Or just here in Egypt, people just want to see the Pharaohs qualifying to the title first and then moving on. But it's also a concern if Hector Cooper always reaches, for example, the finals and comes near the end of the title and excuse me, and he never managed to seal the title. It's quite a concern for Egyptian football fans who wish to see the Pharaohs back to the golden ages. So at the same time, it's still not clear how he will proceed with that, but he has a very early test. He has scheduled a friendly game with Equatorial Guinea. It will be played in Dubai on March 28th. So this will be the first test for Cooper, and then in March, when the 2017 African Cup qualifications begin, that's the real challenge, where all of these questions will be answered through the team's performance under his management.
All right, Adel, thank you very much for speaking to us. That was Adel El Mahrouki joining us live from Cairo. Well, you are watching Match Point. It's time for us to take a quick break. When we return,
If I can become an Olympic champion and a world champion and again maybe a Commonwealth champion, I will have achieved what I wanted to achieve.
men's 800 meters gold medalist Nigel Amos optimistic that he can once again beat King David Rudisha. Welcome back. Well, earlier we had spoken about the Under-20 FIFA Africa Championships, which are ongoing in Senegal. Teams such as South Africa have already been knocked out in the first round. So to give us more insight into the championships in Senegal, we can now cross over live to Dakar, where CCTV's Celestine Caranet joins us live. Now, Celestine, obviously Group A wraps up today. What is the latest from the two matches tonight?
Well, at halftime, Cote d'Ivoire was leading Nigeria 2-1 and Senegal was leading Congo 2-1. Now, the significance of these results at the break was that as it stands, Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire get to go through to the semi-finals. Of course, Nigeria had qualified for the semi-finals before this round of matches, having won their first two games. There is a lot of hope here in Dakar that Nigeria could beat Cote d'Ivoire by full time. By the time the full-time whistle goes, and that Senegal can maintain that result, even add another goal to make sure that they qualify, because Cote d'Ivoire is on 2 points as it stands, and Senegal is on 1 point. So fans here are really hoping that Cote d'Ivoire can lose to Nigeria and Senegal win, so that they can advance to the semi-finals, which also means their first ever FIFA Under-20 World Cup later this year in New Zealand, Mahia.
Right, so it's all to play for in Group A, but it seems like all the big news is in Group B. They're in action Sunday. Of course, South Africa and Zambia on their way out. Why did COSAFA teams perform so poorly?
Well, you see, COSAFA teams want to look at it two-pronged. They're saying, look, for the first time in a very long time, they're having two COSAFA teams at the competition. So the fact that they have had an early exit, both teams, that is South Africa and Zambia, they are not disappointed. They say there is a lot to take away from this as they're just coming back into the competition. Of course, COSAFA say that what they need to do now is work on their tactical and technical approach to these games. They are looking physically inferior to West African teams. You're looking at a situation where it is the West African teams that are dominating age group or youth championships, if you like, in Africa. And so COSAFA says there is a bit of laxity on their part in terms of developing these players at a young age to come into their own. Of course, you're looking also at a situation where countries like South Africa have been accused that they have the infrastructure that going for them, they have the financial muscle going for them in football, yet they can barely produce top-notch players across the continent. And so they're saying it is about time they also work on their talent identification. So COSAFA, yes, disappointed to one end that they could not make it to the semi-finals, but they're saying there's a lot of positives to pick on, and that this is just the beginning. We shall be seeing a lot of them going forward in this youth competitions, Mahia.
Finally, Celeste, why is it that we see Africa perform well at these youth competitions globally, with the countries such as Ghana and Nigeria winning age group titles, but when it comes to graduating to the senior level, these countries can barely make a mark internationally?
Well, Mahia, as you can imagine, in a youth competition like this one, there are a lot of scouts and agents around here. And we've been chatting like the whole of today. I was following a different story. And we were chatting about this particular issue. And according to the scouts, they say the problem is one individual. Many of these players dip in form once they move away from the age group competition when they come into clubs. And so there is no good management of each individual players. Some of them are just lazy. They think that because they have done well in under 17, they have done well in under 20, then they are suddenly stars on the world stage. So when they get to the world stage, the mental expectations, the pressures of international football, Mahia, are not very easy. Of club football, the demands are very high. And so many of them do not measure up. And as a team, in terms, when you look at it in terms of a group mentality, national federations in Africa have been accused of the inability to ensure that there is continuity in their teams. There is no support for many of these teams. You have coaches come in, they bring in their own philosophies, live with that. Another coach comes in 6 months later. So federations are not giving the guidance that is needed, so that you have countries that come up through the age group systems, and then have a certain identity. By the time they get to the senior team, these players really are a unit. So you have disenfranchised players who everybody went to play in Europe, others Asia, and then everybody comes in with their own style, and yet the national federation did not really take one particular role. So it's really a mixture of things. Of course, some people say maybe it could be age cheating as well. You have a number of players who play age group competitions when they've already reached their peak. When they get to Europe or club level, they barely do anything, Mahia.
All right, Celeste, let's hope that can change in future and we can see some of these youth players playing on the world stage. That was CCTV's Celestine Karane joining us live from Dakar at the Africa Under-20 Championships there. Now let's turn to athletics, and the men's 800 meters promises to be one of the highlights of the World Championships later this year. Olympic champion David Rudisha will be looking to win back his world crown from Ethiopia's Mohamed Aman after the Kenyan missed 2013 largely due to injury. But they will be both keeping an eye on Nigel Amos, who was the foreman last year, and the Botswana athlete who trains in South Africa feels it is just a matter of time before he breaks Rudisha's world record.
Setting his sights on reaching the next level. After an injury-ravaged 2013, 800-metre Olympic silver medalist Nigel Amos bounced back in style last year. The highlight, storming past David Rudisha to take gold at the Commonwealth Games.
When I got to the Commonwealth Games, it was 2 weeks after I ran 142, so I know I'm in good shape. If I did 142 in Monaco, and I'm going to face the same field in Commonwealth Games, but the main guy was Rudisha. I know I'm facing Rudisha there. I knew if I did it in Monaco, I can still do it in Glasgow, and that just saying that and looking in his eyes in the cold room made me go strong and do it.
Now, though, Amos needs to reproduce that performance on the world stage. He missed the 2013 World Championships with a thigh injury, so he's determined to make his mark in Beijing later this year.
Yeah, after I missed the World Championships in 2013, I'm really looking forward to go for this one. That'll be my first World Champs, and if I win the medal, like say, I did it like I did in my first Olympics, I got a medal. I did it in my first World Champs, I got a medal. You know, if I can have that medal, my dream will become true.
Amos expects Rudisha and others to be hungrier and fitter this year. Longer term, the focus is on Rio 2016. Rudisha beat Amos to take gold at the London Olympics, so the target is to reverse those roles next year.
Of course, it's like a Shenava athlete, I have a dream to become an Olympic champion. So, but I think from now we're really making, even our workout with coach is more focused in 2016. 2016 the big games, Olympic games. I think as far as I know, if I can become an Olympic champion and a world champion and again maybe a Commonwealth champion, I will have achieved what I wanted to achieve.
Barring any injury mishap, the next 12 months promises to be something special for Amos. He says his training routine is ahead of schedule and he feels it's just a matter of time before he challenges for that 800-metre world record.
I think a world record is something I can do. I think I'll break it with time, but as now I'm not chasing it. I'm not hungry to get it, but time will come for us to say, Nigel and coach, this year we're looking on the world record, working for it, and for sure they will get it.
This is an athlete clearly bursting with confidence. Amos is now the man to beat in the 800 metres, but he knows he has a real fight on his hands to keep it that way. Dan Williams, CCTV, Potchefstroom, South Africa.
Right now, they may not be world beaters, but young roller skaters and rollerbladers in Togo are hoping that an early start will one day put them on the world map. With not so much to build upon, these youngsters only have their passion for the sport, playing for the team that has been in existence for 12 years now. Most of them are only 5 to 10 years of age. They have been training almost every day, aiming to improve their craft.
It allows me to develop my reflexes and differentiates me from the ordinary girls. I intend to compete in tournaments in order to win prizes and to be the best in this sport.
I really like this sport because it makes all parts of my body work. We learn many things. We jump, break, and also we make designs. Our coach is key to this sport, and I have been practicing for 4 years.
Now, heavy lifters around East Africa showed what they were made of in the region's strongman event recently. Competitors were tasked to carry weights twice their own body weight over distances. The event was a good taster for those wanting to qualify to compete at the World Championships, as Leon Senyange reports.
Let's go! Testing the limits of human strength has been an Asian tradition, and nothing like a pre-competition jog would settle the nerves before a weighty competition. The event here drew a solid throng of muscled men doing what the average man can't.
Strongman Challenge is a sports event just like another event. It's about challenging your body to the extreme limits, lifting heavy weights, moving heavy obstacles like trucks and anything like that.
And competitors here were put through a mix of skills, testing strength and speed, something newcomer Male Alvin was soaked up in.
Actually, this is a weight that I've never done before. I'd only done 20 kilos lighter than this, so this is the first time I've done that. That's why I've struggled quite a bit.
While others tumbled under the weights, it was a walk in the park for Vince Mwai. The former rugby player and bodybuilding champion had set his sights on winning here.
In my class, there's a guy, he's doing well as well. He managed 9 reps, but the problem, they were in, four squats, me, I go all the way, powerlifting style. And there's a guy who really impressed me in the super heavyweight. He went all the way down, bam down. That's what we want to see.
And he was dominant, even in the carpool challenge. Dragging a 1,000 kilogram car may seem the least Herculean of challenges for these strength athletes. For most of them, though, it's the fun and camaraderie than the urge to win that sets a competition like this apart.
Actually, you get to know how far you've gone with your power and general body strength.
It's very motivating to see all these people, that work so hard and come out here and, show what hard work they've done. So.
Africa has, however, not enjoyed huge success in such events. It's something organizers here hope will change in a short time.
It's going well, and I know within 2 years of organizing such events, we'll have a big number of competitors and spectators. I know with time we'll go to that stage of competing with the Europeans and Americans. Like you've seen today, we have some Americans competing, we have Europeans competing today. So these competitors will get experience from their fellow competitors from those countries.
For now, one of these muscle men will be East Africa's first strongman champion. And it's a weight they will have to carry to the world event in a few months' time. Leon Senyange, CCTV, Kampala.
Finally, it's all engines go this weekend ahead of the much-anticipated Formula One season in Australia. So for Matchpoint top five segment, we take a look at the top 5 winners of the Australian Grand Prix in history. Now, keep in mind that the circuit has only been part of the F1 World Championship circuit since 1985, even though it has hosted Grand Prix races since 1982. So here are the top 5 winners of the Australian Grand Prix Down Under, starting at number 5. There are 4 drivers at number 5 who have all won Down Under a total of 2 times, all of them now retired. Briton Damon Hill won consecutive titles in 1995 and 1996, while his compatriot David Coulthard won the next year and in 2003. Brazilian great Ayrton Senna clinched the 1991 and 1993 titles, while his great rival Gerhard Berger of Austria was champion in 1987 and 1992. Kimi Räikkönen also won the title twice but sits at number 4 by virtue of the fact that he is still active in the sport. The fiery Finn won in 2007 and again in 2013, a year after his return to the sport. French great Alain Prost comes in at number 3. Prost only misses out on the number 2 spot because one of his 3 victories at the Australian GP came before the circuit was included in the Formula One World Championship. That was in 1982, however Prost would eventually win it again in 1986 with McLaren Tag and again in 1988 with McLaren Honda. Jenson Button is our highest ranked driver currently still in the sport. He could only manage 17th in qualifying on Saturday, but the British driver has won at Melbourne on 3 occasions. He clinched the top spot on the podium in 2009 and 2010. He was back as champion 2 years later with McLaren Mercedes. At number 1 on our list of Matchpoint top 5 winners at the Australian Grand Prix should come as no surprise to anyone. German F1 legend Michael Schumacher was unstoppable at the track, winning 3 successive times in Melbourne from the year 2000 in only his 5th year at Ferrari. He would ultimately win his final Australian race in 2004, making it 4 wins in the modern era, leaving him top of our ranking. And just a clarification that the Australian GP has in fact been in action since the early 1920s. Well, that's it for this edition of Matchpoint. Remember, you can send your feedback to us at matchpoint@cctv.com. You can also visit our Facebook page and leave a comment there, that is CCTV Africa, or stay in touch on Twitter using the handle @CCTV News Africa. Thanks for watching. I'm Mahe Mutu. As always, we leave you with some images from the sporting highlights this past week.